supercharging business success. Our mission is to provide you with timely, provocative, and actionable resources that inspire, promote, and accelerate your quest for business excellence. Today's episode is how to scale your referrals in just 7 minutes with Steve Gordon. Now, Steve's the author of 5 books, including Amazon bestseller #1, Unstoppable Referrals, also known as 10X Your Referrals, Half the Effort, and Podcasting Prospecting, I think that's his second book, of how to land high-ticket clients with a podcast. He's the host of Unstoppable CEO podcast, catch that if you can, and he's appeared on over 100 podcasts. His firm helps digital agencies, consultants, and expertise-based businesses systematically attract high-powered, high-paying prospects. Steve, it's really fantastic to have you here.
Bill, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
It will be fun. Let me do one other thing, and that'll be a little bit better. So I got us both being recorded. You're high, and I'm kind of low here. So, Steve, tell me, who's your ideal client?
Our ideal client is any business where you're hired for your expertise. So consultants and sometimes consulting firms, and really anyone who is really delivering their advice and their expertise as their product to the world.
So those kind of folks have plenty of problems. What though is the primary problem, Steve, that you solve for them?
Well, the big problem that they have is that selling your advice is very different than selling a product, because you are the product, and you have to be the salesperson typically, and then run into a phone booth, put on your Superman suit, come back out and save the day for the client. And it can be very hard to make that transition from salesperson to trusted advisor. And so what we do is we help our clients build systems that pre-sell their prospects so that they arrive when they're in a sales conversation and they've already decided that you're their guy. They've made the choice, the important choice. And all you've got to do at that point is work out the terms of the deal. That's
fantastic. So how does, what sort of symptoms, emotional feelings, et cetera, do people have, Steve, so that they can recognize that it might be the time to get a hold of Steve Gordon?
If you're laying awake at night at 2 o'clock in the morning in the dark and with a little cold sweat beating off of your body, and you're worried because you don't know where the next deal's coming from, then we maybe should talk. That's usually when it kicks in for people.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that is fantastic. That was very well described. I'm sure that we've got some listeners right now, Steve, that are saying, that was me just last night. So when I know that people, your core clients, try to solve, before they meet you, they try to solve this problem by themselves. So what are the common mistakes that you see people making time after time?
Well, the biggest is what I call dabbling. And so when it comes to marketing and business development, people tend to hear about the latest and greatest thing. You know, right now, as we're recording this, TikTok is all the rage. Everybody should be on TikTok, right? Before that, it was Instagram or Snapchat or LinkedIn, you name it. And today there are more options for you than there have ever been in the history to promote your business. Your biggest risk is that you have an abundance of choice. And so what we see happen too often is that businesses get caught dabbling in a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of the other thing, and they never really master any of those channels for business development. And for most of the companies we work with, they're landing very high ticket engagements. They don't need 1,000 clients in a year or 10,000 clients in a year. They need the right dozen or 2 dozen or 3 dozen. And solving that problem is very different than trying to go get that 1,000 or 10,000. So you can do that very effectively by focusing and mastering 1, maybe 2 channels.
Talking about focusing and mastering, Steve, what's one valuable free action that you would recommend that our listeners take right away?
Well, I think the best place to start is to focus on your referrals. That is, to me, the foundation for all of your marketing. And before you go and try and do anything, more elaborate than that, get a system in place that drives referrals. And the one thing that you can do today is sit down and think about the types of information that you need to convey to a potential client to get them to the point that they would want to meet with you or somebody on your sales team. And, these are things that you likely already have around. Compile that together. We like to say package it into what we call a referral kit. And that you might put that in the form of a short book or a webinar or some other form, but something that's easily passed on. And that's probably the most effective thing you can do, because then you can turn around to your clients and to your partners and say, Bill, I've just put together this really great resource that solves this particular problem for people. And I know some people that are really affected by it. And I'd love to sit down with you and brainstorm who in your network might really benefit from getting this. What do you say?
Okay, great. Sixth question, and I know you're a generous guy. What have you thought about that you could offer to our listeners, Steve, a valuable free resource that they can get on your website? So what is the resource? Where's the link that they can click on to go and find the resource that you've teed up for them?
Well, kind of continuing on the theme of scaling your referrals, we have a process that does that, combines using a book and using a podcast to exponentially and continually expand your referrals. And I've actually written down our entire process in a short book. It's about a 45-minute read. And what I'd like to do is give it away to everybody who's listening. So if you go to unstoppableceo.net/SBS, they can go there and they can download the book. And there are a couple of other goodies there they can get as well. But the book will really help them get started.
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So everybody that's listening knows that I'll also have a link below the video on our website. And then you can click on that link as well. So Steve, we got 1 minute, 46 seconds to go. What question have I not asked you that you were saying, "Hi, wait for Bill to ask that question"? So what's the question, Steve, and what's the answer?
So the question that you haven't asked and no one ever asks is, what's the most important factor in marketing and business development? And it's something that most people never really pay serious attention to. But if you really want to move the needle, all of the tactics are great and they're fun. But if you don't first focus on fixing your offer and getting the most compelling, irresistible offer that serves a bleeding neck problem for the people you want to do business with, then all the tactics are going to be wasted. And so that's where, when we work with someone, we always start there and then work up from there. But that's I think the most important thing people need to focus on. That
is fantastic. Did you actually say stopping the bleeding neck syndrome or something like that?
That's right. Yeah. You want prospects with a bleeding neck problem.
That is fantastic.
They've got urgency.
Steve, that is fantastic. You were right on schedule. We got our 7 minutes and 7 minutes done. Now, in closing, focus on this single fact, and that's that businesses do not become extraordinary in a single moment. Instead, they get there as a result of the owner learning and applying a proven combination of the right mindset, a dedication to a system of management, and leveraging high-performance teams. Thanks very much for listening, Steve. Thanks for sharing your time with us. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.